Okay, I wanted to make a comment here about, what happened with Supreme Court of the United States recently. They recently released their uh, results of their investigation into the leak that occurred last year over Dobbs v. Jackson, the abortion case. And I'm not surprised that they're saying they couldn't find the identity of the leaker. This is a sign to me that the Supreme Court and by extension the entire judicial system is corrupt beyond repair. Um, this is a very serious matter. The Supreme Court is an institution that is a very important institution. But unfortunately, corrupt institutions generally want to protect themselves over protecting their They generally want to protect the corrupt actors within them rather than protect their integrity as an institution. And what we have here is a lapse of accountability. And because of that, because no one was held accountable for this leak, it's going to happen again. Because why wouldn't it? Because in the future, given the fact that no one was held accountable this time, why wouldn't political actors attempt to do this again in the future? The answer is there's no reason why they wouldn't. So that basically the end result is going to be that the Supreme Court, from now on, every election year, whenever there's a contested election, an important election, which is every election now, there's going to be, if there is a case that is a politically charged case, okay, it will be leaked prior to its actual official release by the Supreme Court. It will be leaked. And we're going to see more and more of this. So, in other words, the Supreme Court, if you didn't understand this before, understand now that the Supreme Court has fallen. And like the rest of our institutions, the Supreme Court is collapsing as a viable institution. And there's no stopping it now. So you only have one chance to fix these sorts of situations. Okay, let's take an example of another place where lack of accountability encouraged more corruption. The great financial crisis of 2008. No one was held accountable. Okay, people try to say Bernie Madoff was, held accountable, was one of the people prosecuted for that. He had nothing to do with the irresponsible lending practices that resulted in the subprime mortgage crisis. All the bankers, the banking institutions knew that what they were doing was a problem in the years leading up to 2008. So much so that a few states in the United States made those particular lending practices illegal. For example, or they regulated those lending practices. For example, Texas instituted laws prior to 2008 that made it more difficult for mortgage lenders to engage in these shady practices. And as a result, the real estate market in Texas didn't suffer nearly as much after 2008 that the real estate markets in California suffered from, or here in Florida. So, and now we're in a situation where the problems have not been fixed. They've only gotten worse as far as the amount of debt in the system. The real estate market has blown past the levels it was at in the years leading up to 2008. Something similar to where the banking system is going to have to get bailed out again. And that's because why would they change their behavior when no one was held accountable in 2008? So the moral of the story is if institutions, people within institutions that are engaging in corruption are not held accountable, the institution will continue to get more corrupt. And that's what's going to happen to the Supreme Court and to the rest of the United States, actually. This is why one of the major reasons why the United States is a system that is collapsing. It is an empire in decline, and there's no stopping it. Because the people that hold the power to hold to hold the institutions accountable are the institutions themselves. Okay, but the institutions themselves are not going to hold themselves accountable. It just doesn't work that way. If I commit a crime and no one catches me, if I go rob this Walgreens behind me, hypothetically, and no one catches me, am I going to go turn myself in? No, I'm not. Okay, so this is where we're at. Supreme Court of the United States, dead institution. It's a dead institution walking, let's put it that way. And as anarchists, as an anarchist, a real anarchist, not one of these fake anarchists that work for the feds or German intelligence, but as a real pacifist, philosophical anarchist, this is what we expect, and this is what we want. We can just sit back as anarchists, sit back and watch the show. Okay, we don't have to actually do anything, which is very fitting for an anarchist. We can just sit back and watch these systems collapse. And so just sit back, grab your popcorn and watch the show. We're going to see probably a decade or more of this, of the institutions slowly collapsing. I'm just happy to see that the Supreme Court has finally distinguished itself as one of those collapsing institutions. I'm out.